Hello, YouTube.
Hi,
Thank
Pete.
you.
YouTube.
Thank you for tuning into our show. My co-host Doubtfire will not be here this evening. He had a family thing come up, so it will be me, Miss Glenda, and Miss Shannon.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I consider these two of my closest friends and the most beautiful women on YouTube.
Yay.
We will send him the check later on this evening.
Later. Just
Yeah.
expect the
Yes.
pizza. Expect
Okay.
the pizza.
So, my distinguished gentlemen, tell us, how are we going to present this wonderful movie called Iron Claw?
But wait a minute.
Well-
Tell me what you told me, Cap.
I did watch the second half of it, and it got better.
See? Son of
Yeah,
a
well,
bee.
I was falling asleep. I can't.
Me too.
But you guys know more about the Von Erich thing than I do. I didn't even know it was a
Right.
wrestling movie. Okay, so there you
So
have it.
That
the
was
movie we have chosen to review this week is The Iron Claw, the Von Erich story. It goes into the tragedy of the Von Erichs.
Mhm.
The premise of the movie is that there is a family called the Von Erichs, Fritz, and I think his wife's name is Mary. And hold on, Lisa, I'll give you the link. I mean, you really weren't there to watch the movie, so I'll put the link down anyway.
Well,
Anyway, the premise of the movie is there is a family called the Von Erich family, Fritz, and I think his wife's name is Mary, and they had six children. Jack Jr., Chris Von Erich, Harry Von Erich, David Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, and Mike Von Erich. And like the whole family is supposedly cursed. The oldest died when he was 7. He got electrocuted. The second one to die was Mike Von Erich. He died in Japan while wrestling. And then 3 of the others committed suicide. Chris, Mike, and Carrie committed suicide, all within from 1987 to 90 or something like that, 93 or 94. And that's the premise of the movie. It goes over the curse. Myself.
That was
What's
beautiful, Cap. That was beautiful. That was a good dissertation of what was going on. For all of you guys that don't know what the fuck's going on about the Von Erichsons or this movie or anything, I'm going to give you the layman's term of everything, okay? And I only watched half of the movie, and I didn't know anything about wrestling, okay? But basically, here's the juicy parts of this movie. Zac Efron's in his tidy whities, so you get to see him all buffed out, right?
Oh my God.
So there's that aspect,
Way
okay? You get to
buffed
watch this guy fucking half naked all throughout the movie. So if you're into Zac Efron, go for it.
Just get past
This movie is about they focus on one of the wrestlers, which I am not into WWE, and I don't, or whatever the fuck this is, or wrestling or anything like that. So as an outside viewer who knows not shit about shit, I'm watching this. So the highlights that I saw is that they basically focus on the son that really doesn't win a title at all, and the success of all these other sons that ended up dying that did succeed or halfway succeeded in it, and their asshole father who pushed them past the brink of physical capacity. Go ahead, Cap. But that's my layman's fucking review of what this movie is about.
All right. And myself, I was upset with the people that made the movie because they did not include one of the sons that committed suicide, Chris. I did not like that they didn't include him because he was a member of the family. And if you remove part of the story, then it just, you only get half of the story. So I thought it was long and drawn out, especially the first half of it. We stopped watching it at the halfway point because none of us could stay awake. It was really boring. I'm going to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And even the second half, it was a little bit better, but it wasn't much better. To me, the best scene in the second half was Kevin Von Erich, after Carrie committed suicide, had his dad on the ground choking him to death.
Wow.
Because telling him that he didn't protect any of them, because he had called him and told him that Carrie was in a bad place and he really needed to watch him. And his dad told him, that's between you two. And hung up on him.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I can just tell you, as an outsider looking in who didn't know the story at all, which had no endearment to any of the characters because I didn't know anything about any of them, the cinematography alone was a little, I don't know, discombobulated. And if you didn't know the background of what was going on, it seemed really tedious in drawing things out. It also filmed from a perspective of in the 70s. So everything was like, I don't know, nostalgic to the 70s, but even the film, I mean, it actually looked like it was filmed in the 70s. And even if it took place in the 70s, I mean, we have so much better equipment these days. Why do I look like I'm watching something from a fucking camcorder? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like as somebody who watches movies, I mean, you're trying to draw people into, immersing themselves within the structure, but like how better to do that with like crisp vivid imagery and flush colors, you know what I mean, instead of making it so nostalgic that you look like you're going through somebody's old fucking VHS tapes or Super 8s and watching it on a screen in front of you like you're watching your parents' fucking wedding. Okay, that was a little strange of a perspective for me. And it also kept the movie very dark in color. So for
Yes.
somebody who doesn't have great eyesight to begin with, it was all very kind of dark and had a very low undertone of sadness throughout. So it wasn't like a feel good movie at all.
Definitely.
No,
And I like feel good movies. If I'm gonna invest in a long history story, I want the end to be one that's like we succeeded and not fucking everybody dies and croaks and kills their
right.
father. So
Well, he didn't
as
kill
a
him.
movie, I didn't think it was that great. As a documentary, I thought it was probably one of the best. But as a movie, for somebody who doesn't know about this shit, it was
Right.
boring.
Right. And honestly, I mean, they could have showed some of the good times that they had. They couldn't have had all bad times. They had to have some fucking enjoyment. Like, I know they had said, like in interviews, that they like to hunt together and fish together and go swimming and things like. They could have showed some of that stuff instead of just constantly pounding you with sadness.
They were okay with showing the camaraderie between the brothers somewhat, but they also showed the rivalry between them too. The father pitted them against each other quite a bit to be the best.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it was this like weird entangled relationship that these brothers had. It was like they were connected because of their father's fucking vicariously
living
his success through them, but they still were pitted against each other and they were all seeking their father's approval. All of them. They all wanted to bring this legacy to their father.
Right.
So it was a kind of like a strange bond that they had between them. But you're right. There was no highlights at all. There was there was one scene where they showed him telling his brother that he was going to have a baby and he was really excited about it. But it was masked by the fact that the brother was thrown up in the toilet, and the very next scene you're going to see he's dead in Japan because his fucking stomach exploded, you know?
I mean, I think the only like feel good moment of the whole movie is when Kevin Von Erich gets married.
Yeah.
That's the wedding, and
they're
I
dancing.
laughed my
They're
ass
dancing
off.
in that scene, but the rest of it's very dark.
Right. And
very dark.
Myself, like I said, it took away that they didn't have part of the family in the movie. I mean, that's the whole premise of the movie. If they're going to make it sad, I mean, what they could have done that. Like I read an article and they said the reason that they didn't have Chris in the movie is because it would have been overkill with sadness. But they could have done it in a way that it would have made sense. because Chris was smaller than the rest of them, and they could have showed how his dad pushed him, even though he was smaller and he had a weak immune system and his bones were brittle and things like that. They could have like pointed at how Fritz had treated his children and showed that, but they didn't do that.
Well, I still had questions about it the entire time. Like when these children were being pushed past their capacity, I was thinking, where the fuck is their mother? Like, I don't know. It's a fucking curse if everybody's fucking dying. I think it's bad parenting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She was in church.
Right.
Praying
Right.
for her husband to stop being a jerk off.
And
Yeah,
it
I
was
don't care. I would have took those fucking boys and ran, dude.
Right?
I mean, he wasn't a fucking beater, like an abuser, like you guys think. He
It
was
was
more
a
of like a mental extorter, and he had his own failures, and he was taking these boys, and he was like living vicariously through them, and he was just like his regrets became his boys' legacy, and they all died trying to seek this legacy that benefited their family none. The only one who ended up winning a title got it stripped away from him because he got on drugs so fucking bad that he killed himself.
Yeah.
So the legacy for them wasn't success, it was death.
That was the only way they thought they could get away from their damn father.
I don't
Right.
know. I mean, I guess this was a different time and era, and maybe I'm just a fucking nasty bitch. I don't know. But like,
No, in that time, only because I grew up in that time, you did not talk against your husband.
I am, baby.
Didn't.
I lady. High clockwork Rex. Sports.
So, see, I never knew the story about Chris. So he pushed Chris and Chris couldn't do it? Or, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I don't
thought
know,
they
Glinda.
all,
You knew more about it than I did. You were
I
like
thought
filling
they
me
all
in.
committed suicide.
Yeah. Murph wants to say hello, everybody. He said
Yes.
he hated the
He wants
fucking
to say
movie
hello.
too. It made him fucking cry.
Right?
Right.
Oh
He's
my
back
God.
there saying that's a terrible movie.
Right?
Anyways, if you're not into fucking that particular family and you don't want to watch a documentary, I would give it 3 thumbs down for
Yeah.
boring, dark, and the only highlight of the movie was watching Zac Efron half naked.
Oh my God.
And I'm not even
But
into Zac Efron, but you know, he was pretty fucking built, and he had a bowl haircut, so it kind of took away from the sexy part.
you can't
And
look
he
at
was
his
wearing
hair.
tidy whities. But you know, he looks like he's been working out. Good job, Zac Efron. Good job at working out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy from The Bear, too. Okay, I gotta say that.
Oh
The
yeah,
guy,
Lip from Lip
yeah,
from Shameless.
yeah.
Yeah, the bear guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy his acting ability anyways, and he's good at dark, intense drama. But I got to tell you, I have a little hard time watching Mr. Sunshine Zac Efron do anything dark. I just, you know, it's a little
Yeah,
weird.
That damn bowl hair.
It is unusual to see Zac Efron doing a drama.
It's just weird. I don't know. It just wasn't really. I don't know. If I'm being honest, it's just the whole thing was. It needed better writing, unless it was going to be a documentary. If it was going to be a movie, it had to be They had to take some liberties. They had to like give us like flashbacks in somebody's head, so it felt more like it, and moments of joy as well as pain, and it was just all kind of slanted in one
Yeah.
direction, you know.
I agree. And myself, I give it 4 thumbs down. Just I
Hi,
had to
Camel
get
Baby.
the second one.
Ow. Oh no. I didn't like the first half, but I have to admit that I looked around to see if I could watch the second half because I vaguely came from a wrestling family. So, I mean, I knew what the basic story was.
Right.
But,
And
like you said, the first half, oh my Lord. If you could get through the first half, I think you'd be okay. But I think if you really know the story, you're not going to be happy with this movie.
no, you are not, because a
No,
lot
you're
of it is
not.
a lot of it is inaccurate.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, you guys. This is a long ass movie.
Oh my
You know,
God.
we watched like a good hour and 10 minutes of it before we were like, no.
We
And we
Yeah.
still had another hour to go or something. It's a long ass movie.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Spaghetti, this is live, my noodle.
long. But Zach
Hey, Eddie,
Efron,
Spaghetti.
Well, that's my review.
Camera
So
on
if you're gonna
both.
run a panel for a little while, go ahead and put the thing up. I don't know if anybody else has got anything to add about that. Did anybody else watch the Iron Claw movie?
No, haven't.
I think
Here's
Rex
the
is
thing.
backstage and wanted to add his
Come
point
on.
of view.
Come on up.
Hi, Hammer.
Hey
Come on,
Rex,
Rex.
you watched the movie, right?
Oh yeah, I watched the movie and I saw the shit happen in real time. So
See?
yeah, I know the story. I grew up watching shit like that.
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, back when they were coming up through the wrestling world,
Mhm.
WCW, WWE, WWF, all that shit, they were all hopped on steroids.
They were hot
Right.
on everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, steroids is just the first thing, and we can go down the list. Yeah,
And honestly, Rex, that was another one of the things that bothered me, is they made it look like Kerry Von Erich's motorcycle accident was the reason that he lost his title, and that wasn't it. It was because he was on so many drugs and he kept missing dates, and the NWA was like, "We can't have you as champion if you're not going to show up to defend the title."
I'm a little noodle.
Yeah, they don't.
yeah. I mean, it's all about the dollar at the end of the day. And if you're not going to show up to make your fucking dollar or make the dollar for the company, they're not going to fuck with you.
Right. And
You know
they
what
also
I find interesting though about this, you guys, about this movie that I forgot to bring up, is that I think a lot of men will relate to this movie by the way their fathers treated them growing up. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
I think a lot of men admired the discipline that their father gave them, but what they don't realize is the outcome of that discipline ended up making them implode. You know what I mean? Including the father, it changed who he was as a person and his goals.
Yeah. The end of the movie, it ends with Fritz Von Erich and his wife being there, and she's in the kitchen painting, and he comes in and he's like, "What's for dinner?" And she goes, "Nothing. I wasn't hungry." And then they showed the empty table because they would always sit around the table and eat. Like they showed that several times. There was nobody there but those two, and they wouldn't. Like she was sitting at the table painting, and he's just standing there.
Right.
And that was how the movie ended.
But I think a lot of males will.
Sorry.
Relate to this father type character. I think a lot of men back in that day, like Glenda said, was like they were very much like that. It was about this whole old school fucking discipline.
My father with my brother. It was my brother went to Japan and shit.
Right.
I mean, it was like, yeah.
And to me, it also showed what the wrestlers that were being brought up in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s went through with their family, like the Hart family. Their father had a dungeon in their basement that he would torture them with. Like he would get them in wrestling moves and shit, and he would torture them and almost break their fucking arms and stuff.
Which one of the Hart brothers died on that fucking wire?
Oh,
Owen Hart.
Was it? That was Owen? Okay.
Yeah.
And Brett quit after that. He was like, fuck this noise. I'm taking my shit and going home. Yeah.
Brett came back though.
Yeah, he went to WCW.
You throw enough money at somebody and they'll fucking come back.
But, anyway, I think Shannon's correct. I think that a lot of people are going to relate to the father and how their childhood was, because back in the 70s and 80s there was no fucking CPS.
No,
hell no. I had a cousin
go to therapy if there was something wrong. Your father told you to walk it off.
Yeah, told you to rub some fucking dirt in it and walk it off.
And walk it off. Yeah.
Don't be a pussy. Yeah.
Well, I had a cousin, and my uncle fucking forced him to play football. I was like, dude, do you really want to do this? And he was like, no, not really. But Dad expects that of me.
The one scene that stands out to me is when Kevin Von Erich gets thrown outside of the ring, and he's laying on the ground, and he's like, breathe. And he can't breathe. And his dad when he gets back to the locker room, his dad gets on him about it, and he tells him, he's like, I've just never been thrown on the floor that hard before.
Yeah, you know, I've got like 5 broken ribs, Dad. What the fuck do you want? Yeah.
Well, he got the ribs kicked in after he fell on the floor, but it like knocked the wind out of him, and he was like seeing spots and shit, and like it was
Yep.
counting down, and he was trying to get up, and he just couldn't get fucking up. He had to roll back in there, and then his brother got in the ring and started beating the shit because that one guy came out and just started kicking him in the ribs, and it was like he got disqualified, and he just kept on trying to beat the guy up.
Right.
And then Carrie tag teamed in or whatever, and he started kicking the shit out of the guy.
Another thing with the second half of the movie, it showed how Carrie Von Erich, and I think Shannon would admire this and relate to this. It showed how he had lost his foot, and he still continued to wrestle, like all the pain and stuff he went through to continue to do what he was doing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He used to take his leg off and beat people with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I aspire to do that
Well,
too.
I mean, you know, you do what you got.
I think the reason I said that Shannon could relate to it is because of the things that she's gone through, and watching that like was inspiring to me to watch somebody without a foot. You know what I mean? To be able to continue their profession as an athlete, because regardless if everything is scripted, he's still an athlete, and he's still running and jumping and doing the things that he could do.
I know it's very difficult to learn how to walk on a prosthetic, especially, you know, with this. I don't know how far his foot was gone. I mean, I don't know if it was under his knee like mine, or if it was just the foot, or what.
I think it was maybe 12 inches above the foot. It wasn't very far up.
Yeah, I think they took it off to just below the knee.
Yeah, that's where I got it amputated, is below the knee.
And he would take his prosthetic leg off and beat people with it.
Yeah, no, I aspired to do that as well, but I lost my big toe, so now I can't balance on one leg good. But that's a goal of mine, is to take off my leg and beat somebody over the head with it.
Hey, Nicole.
Nicole, my wife.
Hey, back then it was fucking weird. I'm just saying. It happened. It was fucking weird. Yeah.
All right, bring Lisa Damn D up.
She's not here, but I will put down the link. I am going to end this stream and start another one because I want to post this as a movie review.
Oh, okay, cool.
Start another stream.
Look, is this the 1 to 5 rate?
Yeah, we're rating from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
1 being the worst, is 5 being the best.
Yeah.
2.
I give this a 2.5 on the 1 to 5 scale.
Yeah, I give 2.5 stars. Yeah.
That's what I give it.
Yeah. When it comes up, I'll watch the other half. But
if you like wrestling and you like the story and you want to watch a documentary type based thing, which is kind of not really that realistic, it's kind of close to the story, then go watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to thank my guests, Glenda, Shannon, and Rex.
My pleasure.
Thank you
fuck all of you.
Here.
Fuck all you guys. I'm going home.
I gotta take a shot.
I love the 3 of you. And next week, I think I am going to put a poll up. And
weren't you talking about selecting a movie this week, and then like since there's only 10 people that can fit backstage with us to watch it, you know, I think he was going to post the movie, so it could kind of be like a book club type thing, so you guys can watch it too. So later on, if you guys want to review the movie that you watch too with us, then we could all watch it together. You know, Cap's got a full 10 on the panel, and you know, we can talk about it.
Yep. So I will get with my cohorts here, and we will pick a movie for next week.
Why?
And I have no idea when the new Beetlejuice movie comes out, but I think Cap does.
I think
it's in September.
September.
Oh, is it September? I thought it was next month.
And we will definitely be reviewing that movie because I sure the fuck am going to watch that one.
Yes.
So I think all of us are into the Beetlejuice movies, so you'll definitely get a review of that one.
Beetlejuice.
You know, and Cap does have 10 slots backstage, so like if you guys want to watch with us, just like leave a comment on Cap Stream, and we'll figure out how to get you guys back there. You know what I mean? If not, you guys can watch it on your own, and then when we do the talk the next day, like, we can all participate together, and it'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, I've got a movie. We can talk about it later. But yeah,
All
I've
right.
got a movie we can watch. Yeah.
All righty, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I love you all.
Bye.
And
Much
good
love,
night.
everybody. Bye-bye.
I will be lurking.
About 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to put up another stream. Love you guys.
I will be lurking and waiting.
Oh, damn.
Waiting and lurking.
Eric and Shan, I'm going to